Hi everyone. Today we continue our lesson on assessing auditory comprehension. We started last week Friday and this is the same lesson, it's just a continuation. In our last session, we would have looked at considerations that need to be made whenever conducting auditory comprehension. And we would have looked at when assessing auditory comprehension, the factors that may affect the process. And we would have also done one test run of how to respond to questions at the different levels based on what we hear. In assessing auditory comprehension, we must ensure that the audio content is not familiar to the listener, that the way they don't respond based on prior knowledge. Ensure that the vocabulary within the content is suitable to the reading level of the listener, and ensure that whatever content is being used is not lengthy. We also said that the different levels of questions should be given based on the audio content. So although it's an audio content, yes, we must assess literal level, critical level, and inferential level. So all types of questions should be given to the audio content in response to the audio content. We then looked at the procedure which is involved whenever we are allowing a person to respond orally to the questions. So first it is read once, and then the assessor asks the questions one at a time and the person responds individually. After each question is asked, the response is given, then we move on to the next question. Ariel and Amanda are sisters. Ariel is the younger one, who is 5 years old. Her sister is 7 years old. The sisters love and care for each other, but sometimes they tease one another. They never fail at playing pranks, even on their parents. Yesterday, their parents left for a 3-day trip in America, so Amanda and Ariel were taken to their grandmother's house. Their grandmother's name is Nina. Grandma Nina is their father's mother. Their father and mother told them that they should not give Grandma Nina any trouble while they were away. Ariel said to Amanda, "Our parents told us not to bother Grandma Nina, but they did not tell us not to trouble each other. Watch out! This is going to be a crazy weekend." What are the names of the children? Who is the older child? Why did their parents leave them with Nina? Who is Nina, and how is Nina related to the girls? Based on how the story ends, what do you think may happen next? For this part of the lesson, we will actually go through the procedure that is involved whenever it is that the assessor presents the respondents with the questions prior to the reading. So first you'll see the questions and then you will be allowed to respond after the reading is done. Today's session, as we continue, when it comes to that critical point of listening, I'm going to encourage us all not to be writing at that point. Remember, the listening process is very technical, it involves a lot, and you really don't want the brain to be processing too much at that time other than the audio content. So please do not write while you're listening. Just listen and then respond to the questions after. Stay tuned. Firstly, the questions will be displayed on the screen. At that point, you can choose to write the questions or do a screenshot, whichever is more convenient to you for you to remember the questions. Remember, they'll be displayed at the end. So after the first reading, then you'll be allowed 15 to 30 seconds to respond by writing your answers. Then there will be the second reading or the second play of the audio content, and another 30 seconds will be allowed in which you should respond. Then we will have the third reading of the same content, and you will be allowed up to 1 minute to finalize your answers, write them down, that is, and then that would have been the time for you to submit. That's the procedure. And if you're a teacher or perhaps a parent who wants to assess your child's auditory comprehension, that's the procedure that you would follow if you're requiring that they write the responses. If you want for them to just submit their responses orally, then you do what we did last week, which is to just read aloud, ask the questions, and have them answer one at a time. Be reminded that absolutely no writing should be done during the listening process. Alright, in assessing listening comprehension, whenever the script is given, usually there are instructions at the start. So sometimes even in the instructions, the person can have an idea as to what to look forward to. It might give a brief overview as to what the content is about. Otherwise, the instructions will just tell you the procedure in which this assessment will be conducted. Now, let's look at the test item. Number 1 says, Amanda is Ariel's blank. And you will find when you're listening that this is just a literal level question. However, it pulls on one's vocabulary as well. 2. On which days could the parents be on their trip? So it never said are, it says could. It never says will be, it says could. This question is now going to pull on critical thinking. It's a critical level question that involves a bit of inference while listening. And it's, of course, since it's critical level question, there will be some cause for application to prior knowledge of how the world operates. Then 3. How many persons were mentioned in the story? So naturally the person will have to recall and do a little bit of calculation. So that's literal as well. Just requires a little bit more skill. 4. How old is Amanda? And that also is going to be an inferential question because it's not directly stated. Why have Amanda's parents gone overseas? That's a literal level question. So see, this would have assessed all levels of questioning. If you had tuned in last week Friday, then you will realize that these 5 questions are also based on the audio content that was played last Friday. Now, it's not that we reuse the text. I'm just using this as an example so that we have an idea as to how many different kinds of questions we could have pulled from the same audio content. So these are 5 different questions, but all are at different levels, just like last week. In conducting assessment of auditory comprehension, assessors must ensure that we don't provide more than 5 questions. 5 questions is quite sufficient. It's best to have 2 literal, 1 inferential, and 1 critical level. 4 to 5 questions will be quite fine. Never 3, always 4 to 5 questions. Now here goes a popular question that we get. How do I know if I'm doing well with auditory comprehension? In assessment like these, once you have got 4 out of 5 questions correctly answered, or 3 out of 4 questions correctly answered, meaning you're looking at a mark of 75% or higher, it means you're doing well at that level. So there are different levels of text and there are different levels of audio material. So you may be doing well at perhaps a grade 7 level, but not so well at a grade 9 level in auditory comprehension. Now in our next series, we will look at reading levels and what to make of them, and the auditory comprehension levels will also be discussed at that time. So once it is that you get 4 out of 5 of these questions correct, then you are well on your way. But if you're getting less than 4 out of 5, it is a problem because these are 5 questions. So 3 out of 5 would be 60%. So you'd be below par. So it's 4 out of 5 to know that you are doing well. You must also pay keen attention to which ones you get correct. So if you find that you're getting all the literary level questions correct, but you're messing up the inferential and the critical, maybe that's the aspect that you need to work on where it comes to auditory comprehension. Now it's time to listen. Ariel and Amanda are sisters. Ariel is the younger one who is 5 years old. Her sister is 7 years old. The sisters love and care for each other, but sometimes they tease one another. They never fail at playing pranks, even on their parents too. Yesterday, their parents left for a 3-day trip in America, so Amanda and Ariel were taken to their grandmother's house. Their grandmother's name is Nina. Grandma Nina is their father's mother. Their father and mother told them that they should not give Grandma Nina any trouble while they were away. Ariel said to Amanda, "Our parents told us not to bother Grandma Nina, but they did not tell us not to trouble each other. Watch out, this is going to be a crazy weekend." Ariel and Amanda are sisters. Ariel is the younger one who is 5 years old. Her sister is 7 years old. The sisters love and care for each other, but sometimes they tease one another. They never fail at playing pranks, even on their parents too. Yesterday, their parents left for a 3-day trip in America, so Amanda and Ariel were Ariel and Amanda are sisters. Ariel is the younger one who is 5 years old. Her sister is 7 years old. The sisters love and care for each other, but sometimes they tease one another. They never fail at playing pranks, even on their parents too. Yesterday, their parents left for a 3-day trip in America, so Amanda and Ariel were